Healing power.
Did I just...
Hello guys, welcome to Cinema Ultimate. This is a Jungle Cruise movie recap. A Disney film released in 2021. A film directed by Jaume Calais-Serra, starring Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt. Jungle Cruise tells the story of a ship captain named Frank who meets a mystical adventurer named Lily. They have an adventure mission to find the magic tree, the Tears of the Moon, which according to legend can cure various diseases and even curses. However, the magic tree is in the Amazon forest. They have to face many obstacles to get the magic tree. What's next? Here's Jungle Cruise movie recap. At the beginning of the film, in the 16th century, Don Lope Aguirre leads an army of Spanish conquest to South America in search of the magic tree, the Tears of the Moon, which is located in the La Luna Rota waterfall, Amazon forest. A mythical tree whose flowers are believed to cure all diseases, wounds, and even curses. On his way through the Amazon jungle, many of Aguirre's troops were killed, and left the leader of Aguirre and 3 troops who were saved by the local tribe. However, instead of Aguirre thanking the tribal chief, he wanted to have the chief's holy arrowhead instead. The holy arrowhead is the key to the location of the magic tree, the Tears of the Moon. Knowing that, the tribal chief refused his request. Aguirre was angry. He killed the tribal chief and burned his village. Before dying, the tribal chief cursed the conquistador troops, rendering them immortal and unable to leave the Amazon forest. Several years later, in 1916, in London, there was a researcher named MacGregor Houghton claimed to the British Empire that the flowers from the magic tree, the Tears of the Moon, could revolutionize medicine and aid in the British war effort. MacGregor then requested access to the holy arrowhead artifact they had just obtained. Because according to the research of his sister, Lily Houghton, the holy arrowhead is the key to finding the magic tree. However, the British Empire refused his request, and considered that the magic tree was just a myth. Plus, female scientists at that time were considered inferior. Then Lily stole the holy arrowhead until she was almost caught by Prince Joachim, a German noble who was also looking for a magic tree to help the German Empire in the war. He chased Lily to take the holy arrowhead until Lily almost fell into the middle of the road. However, MacGregor came to help his sister and then they left. Joachim was angry that Lily had taken the holy arrowhead. However, Joachim received information that Lily was going to the holy arrowhead soon, and he intended to chase Lily there. Long story short, Lily and MacGregor went to Brazil. Then they meet Frank Wolf, a riverboat tour guide who offers Amazon River cruises. Lily plans to rent a boat to Nilo. However, Frank is in Nilo's room disguised as Nilo to retrieve his boat keys, which Nilo had previously taken because Frank was in debt. Lily believes that he is Nilo. Lily explains her journey to find the magic tree. Then Lily helped Frank retrieve his boat keys in Nilo's drawer. Frank initially refuses and says that the trip is too dangerous and the magic tree is just a myth. However, as they ate, Frank saw the holy arrowhead Lily was wearing. He finally considered it. Then suddenly Nilo came to them. Finally, Lily finds out Frank's lie, who has disguised himself as Nilo. Lily argues with Frank and Nilo about the ship. Then a tiger came to them. Frank fights the tiger. And Lily, who saw it, was immediately impressed with Frank. Then she decided Frank to be a guide on their journey down the Amazon River. After that, without Lily knowing, it turned out that the tiger was Frank's pet. Then they got ready to go down the Amazon River. It wasn't long before Joachim's men arrived. Then they kidnapped Lily and took her away. And at the same time Nilo came after Frank. Frank asks MacGregor to control the boat, while Frank goes looking for Lily. The chase action ensued. Lily, who was in the cage, managed to get out and Frank came to help Lily to the port of the ship. They fought with Joachim's men and left. Arriving at the harbor, Frank immediately jumped into the river to the boat, but Lily instead climbed upstairs to find another way because she couldn't swim. Frank immediately followed where Lily went so he could catch Lily in his boat. However, Lily fell instead. Frank immediately pulled over and took Lily to his boat. Joachim, knowing that Lily had managed to escape, he immediately came to the surface in a German submarine. Joachim immediately shot at Frank's boat until the engine died. Frank immediately swerved to avoid Joachim and restarted the engine. It didn't stop there. Joachim took out a torpedo to attack them. Frank accelerated and crashed his boat to avoid the torpedo. Finally they made it through. Meanwhile, Joachim's submarine snags and destroys Nilo's ship. Then Frank, Lily and McGregor continued their journey towards the lower reaches of the Amazon. On Frank's boat, Lily found a tiger that had been bothering them that time. Turns out the tiger belonged to Frank. Lily was annoyed at being lied to by Frank again. On the other hand, Joachim and his men know the legend of Aguirre. They also found the Spanish troops who had been cursed. Joachim helps them to be free. Then he made an offer to them in order to remove their curse forever. They had to help him attack Frank's group. Meanwhile in Frank's boat, they are crossing a dangerous current to get out. Frank tried to control the boat so that it could pass the current. Then they arrived at UCAI Bay and decided to rest for a while. Frank and McGregor went to find firewood for the boat engine. Meanwhile Lily sneaks into Frank's cabin. Lily saw many photos and sketches of modern inventions, as well as maps, drawings, and research on the magic tree the Tears of the Moon. Lily suspects Frank has the same goal. Frank explained to Lily what he had been through. However, Lily was very annoyed by him. Shortly after, a group of cannibal tribes caught them. Frank, Lily, and McGregor are brought to the chieftain. They speak the language of their tribe. Frank translated the words. The chief said that he was looking for the holy arrowheads they brought with them, and must give it to their tribal chief. Lily insisted not to give it. Lily quickly took out their weapons and threatened to attack the tribe members. However, it turns out that this chief knows Frank. Feeling cheated again, Lily becomes annoyed with Frank and hits him. Then the tribal chief named Tartar Sam informs the sacred arrow and the location of the magic tree that can only bloom under the blood moon. Then Lily looked at the map and prepared to walk through the forest for 2 to 3 days as it was still a full moon. Shortly after, Aguirre's group came to attack them. Then they took the holy arrowhead. Frank tried to pick it up again but he got stabbed. He immediately gave it to Lily, then Frank fell. While Lily managed to escape from there. Lily left McGregor to the chief because his leg hurt. Then Lily ran to where Frank had fallen. Lily tried to cross the cursed boundary so that the Amazon jungle dragged the Spaniards who were after her. Meanwhile Aguirre sent a bee to inform Joachim. The next morning, Lily and McGregor find Frank fatally stabbed. Frank finally revealed the truth. He told them that his real name was Francisco Lopez de Heredia. It turns out that he is also cursed and he is almost 400 years old. Frank is one of the conquistadors on a noble mission to save Aguirre's terminally ill daughter in Spain. Then Lily removed the dagger from Frank's body. Meanwhile McGregor returns to Porto because his leg hurts. On Frank's boat, Frank tells his past. In 1556 Aguirre's daughter became ill and was unable to recover. Then Aguirre got information that in the Amazon forest there is a magic tree that can cure all diseases. Eventually Aguirre, Frank, and his group head to the Amazon forest in search of the magic tree. However, Aguirre caused trouble by trying to take the holy arrowhead. Because Frank is kind, he and the villagers fight to save the holy arrowhead. However, the chieftain was already angry and cursed Aguirre's group. After that incident, Aguirre considered Frank a traitor. They've been fighting for years. Then Frank traps them in a cave until they are trapped into statues in the cave. Frank then spent centuries searching for the magic tree in a boat he built called L'Aquila. He tried to find a magic tree to lift the curse. However, he gave up because he couldn't find the magic tree. Finally he spent his days with a tiger in a city called Porto Velho. On the other hand Traitor wants to bring McGregor to Porto Velho. However, on the way, he met with Joachim and his men. Unexpectedly Traitor even handed McGregor. Then Joachim took McGregor and forced him to tell him where Lily was. The next day Frank and Lily arrived at La Luna Rota. Frank jumped into the water to open the floodgate. However, it is not easy to open the floodgate. He teamed up with Lily to dive into the river water and open the floodgates for the water to recede. Lily almost died from lack of oxygen because Frank was busy with the fish in the water. Frank quickly helped Lily out of the water. After that Lily realized. Then she talks to Frank to use the flower from the magic tree to lift Frank's curse. Lily plans to take him to London, but Frank refuses. At the same time, they saw Joachim's ship in front of them. Then they force Frank to take them to the cave to find the magic tree. Frank is forced to take them to the cave because McGregor is already held hostage. After entering the cave, they were amazed to see a magical tree called the Tears of the Moon. Then Joachim asked Lily to attach the holy arrowhead so she could take the flower from the magic tree. They saw the magic tree blooming under the blood moon. Then Lily plans to trick Joachim by shooting Frank. Joachim had believed Lily. But instead he saw Frank, who was not dead. Frank beats up some of Joachim's men and releases McGregor. Then Lily quickly took the flower of the magic tree before the end of the blood moon. Finally she managed to get a flower from the magic tree. However, Joachim came after Lily to take the flower. Lily ran until the flower fell. It turned out that Frank had caught the flower. Soon Aguirre's group came and killed Joachim. They were trying to catch up to Lily. But Frank caught Aguirre's attention with the flower. He quickly handed the flower to McGregor and then tricked Aguirre's group into being bound back into stone statues, including Frank himself. After hitting the ship, the water receded, and they were pulled into stone statues. Then Lily and McGregor came. Lily was sad to see Frank, who had become a stone statue. Lily tries to help Frank by putting the flower into Frank's mouth so he can lift the curse. Since nothing had changed, Lily and McGregor planned to just go home. However, Frank suddenly came out of the curse. Those who saw it were very happy. And the film is over. Okay guys. If you like our channel, support us with subscribe and turn on the bell, like, comment, and share. So that you don't miss our next video and our channel can grow even more. See you guys.